Hi, everybody. I am going live with Jenn Powell of the MS News podcast. So I'm going to invite Jenn in right now while people start to come in. Here she is.
Hello, it is so good to be here.
You.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm great. How are you today?
I am doing well. I'm hoping people will start to come in.
It is
What's
so good
happening?
to see you.
So good to see you. How's the weather out there?
It is chilly. It is
Oh.
not California, so I like it. I'm not melting. Heat is a kryptonite. So as many other things, but especially heat.
Yeah. Hi, Karen. Thank you for coming. That's Karen. And
Hi, Karen.
hi. Okay, so Jenn, I'm going to introduce you. This is Jenn Powell. She's the brand and marketing manager of the Bio News brand. She lives in Southern California, where she enjoys volunteering for animal rescue and spending time with her husband and golden retrievers. In her 4 years with Bio News, Jenn has created content for and collaborated with multiple divisions of Bio News, including Bio News Insights and Bio News Clinical. Jenn is driven to elevate the needs of those in the rare disease communities. She has done so through her column, reading of news briefings, and hosting the recently launched MS News podcast. Her patient perspective complements her passion and industry acumen for cultivating and engaging communities both within and outside of BioNews.
Ooh.
So that was a mouthful, but beautiful bio. So I met Jenn. I was on Jenn's the MS News podcast, and we had a really lovely conversation. And that podcast episode just went live today.
It will go live Thursday.
So,
yeah.
Okay. So I will be sharing a link to that and sharing all about that in my posts on Thursday.
And so we'll be at MS News.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. So we'll be sharing about that, and that's exciting. But I wanted to have Jenn on my IG Live to talk about her story, how she got into doing the podcast, what Bio News even is, and what they do, because we didn't really talk about that. Yeah, and learn more about your story and touch in with your MS journey and symptoms and see if we can work with them a little bit while we're here. So without further ado, this is Jenn Powell. So Jenn, tell us about yourself a little bit and your story. How did MS present in your life? How long ago did it present? And was there like a traumatic event that led up to it, or how did that happen?
Sure. First of all, thank you so much for having me. When I met Megan, it was like a symbiotic connection. She's incredible, and she's her ability to really connect with people is so unique. So I just want to commend you on that. It's really authentic. So my MS presented in 2010. I was 40, and it's interesting because we look for a trigger that is traumatic, but sometimes a joyful trigger can traumatize our bodies. So I was helping with the birth of my cousin's baby, and I was just going, and all of a sudden I got home from that trip, and I, upon hindsight, had Epstein-Barr. For 3 months, I could not stay awake for more than maybe 45 minutes every 4 hours, and then I would fall asleep.
Wow.
And multiple tests, and I was asked, is it depression? Have you been, are you going through things? And of course, having gone through depression in my life. And you know, when you're going through something finite, you're really questioning, especially when the doctors are questioning you. So that went on, but then one day I woke up. I couldn't talk. I couldn't walk. This was in November, then fast forward July to November. I couldn't move. I had slurred speech. I thought for sure I had a stroke.
Mm.
And my husband took me to a neurologist. And I was lucky. I was able to get an MRI quickly and was determined to have MS. I walked into the office joking, trying to hide my feelings with laughter. And I'm like, so am I normal? And he looked at me with that look where he's like, sit down. So
Hmm. Yeah. So
it was,
and you knew pretty quickly, like you found out pretty quickly.
I knew with weeks of that. I mean, I had the MRI, then I had a spinal cord. I had the spinal tap, yeah, and it was found to have protein. So with the proteins, it was very quickly determined that I had MS, which is very unusual. So
Mhm.
it was quick. So
Yeah, yeah. And then, so was it quick to get, I mean, you took steroids, I assume, and it did, yeah,
a
to get
lot of
the
steroids.
time. So then what happened? Like, how quickly did that, or how has that affected you now?
Well, all these years later, I have secondary progressive right now. I've been on Copaxone, Tisabri, rituximab, and now Mayzant.
Mm.
My disease is determined to be advanced right now. So, and it looks different in everybody. And I really encourage people not to look at someone and determine what they have or how they are because they present differently.
Yeah.
On my speech and my swallowing, my ambulation, and just my cognition is affected differently. And I have new lesions in my cervical area. So it was that word advanced is scary, but I am determined to look at it as a word and kind of redefine it.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. My first comment to that would be don't call it mine.
interesting. I love it.
Yeah, don't say,
Well, don't
because I'm not gonna say it, but don't say my, thing. We'll call it the thing.
the
Um,
thing.
so don't say that because your cells are listening to that, and the more you own it, the more they hear it, the more they continue to.
I wrote that the last time you told me that, teacher, and I didn't do well. You are wise.
um, yeah, I mean, the more you say that, then the more your body begins to really believe and take on that identity, right? So the more you can say, I have an experience with it, or you could say I'm living with it, or you say I was diagnosed with it 13 years ago, but you don't have to say I am it, I have it, so it's mine,
Yeah,
because the more you own that, then the more your body begins to truly believe that. So
absolutely. Thank you.
you're very welcome. That's my first note. um,
I'll take it.
um, but yeah, so okay, so that's interesting. Wow. And how interesting that the traumatic event was actually a joyful event, but it clearly taxed your body. I mean, clearly it was there, it was festering already. That was the thing that taxed your body that sent it over the edge, right?
Absolutely.
Um,
I was not listening to my body prior to that, obviously. Had I been
yeah,
listening, I would have been kinder
yeah, yeah,
myself.
of course. I mean, that's what, look, but hey, I go through this with students. It's like we can't, we're not going to go back, or the past is the past, stuff happens, right? But it's actually a wake up call, right? Our body, any symptoms that show up, it's just our body's way of being like, hello, knock, knock, pay attention to me, right?
Absolutely.
Like, and so then you can actually begin to, then it's like the MS becomes a little bit more of a blessing because it shows you, like, gives you the opportunity to slow down, the opportunity to appreciate things on a deeper level, and yeah, and to create a different community, and you've now created a career out of this. So what were you doing before with your career before now?
I had done freelance writing, and I had written a book on endometriosis because now it's a book that at the end got 86 cents royalty. So the authors of the world are safe, the writers. It was just a book on my perspective with them. Yeah, I mean, with endometriosis. But again, another autoimmune disease.
Right.
So I freelanced and I wrote here and there. And I was teaching at the very beginning after college, but then I began to write and enjoy that very much. What I had begun to experience is a lot of chronic pain due to the endometriosis and multiple surgeries prior to MS. Kind of leveled me and put me in a position where, or I was in a position where working was challenging. I caught that.
I noticed.
And, yeah.
Yeah, where working was challenging.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have children?
I have two bonus daughters and two wonderful grandchildren through them. I could never have biological children because I had a radical hysterectomy at 26.
Wow. Yeah.
The endometriosis. And what happened is I began to write for a faith-based MS Endless Pursuit, which is no longer with us. But then I was scouted and found by someone at BioNews. Now, BioNews is a parent company of Multiple Sclerosis News Today. And among MS News Today, it has about 75 other direct-to-patient platforms, ALS News Today, SMA News Today, focused on elevating the needs of the rare disease community. And not only elevating through content, but reaching through engaged communities and things that we can offer to often difficult to find information. So that's BioNews, the parent company.
Okay.
So to write my weekly column for MS News Today, it became a blessing that I was doing something. And it was truly unexpected. So as I begin with the company, it's now been almost 6 years. I've grown and done different things with the company. And I can tell you, I have never been with a company that is more solid in its values and its ability to really mean what they say. The founder of the company, Chris Kamish, he believes in what he does, and it is a patient-centric, person-first environment where someone like me, who I could not work in a traditional environment, he has not only invited me to do that, but elevated me in position and given me a career.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Unheard of. Yeah.
Yeah. So the podcast, when did that start? And did you decide to do that, or did they suggest that, or how did that come?
They suggested that I had done flash briefings, and flash briefings are reading of like things that we would put out on our site. And it made it very funny because as my disease progressed and I became more tongue-tied, I couldn't pronounce some of the things, but they were discussing a podcast, and we had a podcast for spinal muscular atrophy, and they thought, what about MS, and how about Jenn? And I was nervous, but when I did the first one, oh my goodness, I was hooked. And it's truly a community and a group effort. It's not me. Anything you see or hear in that podcast is because I work with phenomenal people in social media, in media department. But what they do allow me to do is source guests. And, when I found you, when I get to look at interesting people and have had a myriad of guests. So it's really wonderful to be able to elevate and highlight anyone in the MS community who can bring benefit to the person, especially people with MS.
Yeah.
There's no one better on the podcast than a person with multiple
yeah,
sclerosis.
because everybody has such different experiences.
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, Brandy. I'm just going to say hi to Brandy. We were messaging last night. I owe you a message, by the way, Brandy. I have not forgotten about you. So Jenn, let me see. I'm looking at my list of questions. So the stories you talk about on the podcast are normally people who are dealing with MS, and some of them are, or not everybody.
Not everybody, very much so, or closely tied. For example, Cindy Zaghi Boylo is the president of the National MS Society. I had her on. I had Kathy Regan, who founded FUMS. Now, a lot of people have MS, and yes, exactly. Tanuja Chitnis was one of my very first. She is a neurologist, the head of neurology at Brigham and Women's and Harvard, and she founded the Ann Romney Center. And she also founded one of the first longitudinal studies for multiple sclerosis. So I like to reach and bring different facets to the community too, and available resources, because there's a lot of things out there people may or may not know of.
Yeah, I love that. That's amazing.
And I like podcasts because I'm better at listening now than I am reading with my MS.
Yeah.
So easier.
Not yours. It's not yours.
I'm better. Listening comes to me. Listening, how would I say that?
With the MS.
With,
you could say.
Oh, with the MS.
Not my.
With the MS. Yeah. I like listening instead of reading.
Yes.
The, not mine.
It's an entity. It's its own entity, and you're not taking on the identity of it.
It's myself listening to that and owning it every time I say that.
Yeah, every time you say my, it's like you own it, right?
Right.
You're totally taking on your identity. So it's not yours. It's there. It's you're accepting that it exists, but it's not. You're not like owning it.
That's so powerful, yet so easy to overstep.
Yeah, and the more people catch themselves, then they can slowly but surely, right, it can become a new habit to talk about it in a new way. And the more you do that, you'll actually start to notice things start shifting. So that's just, try to be cognizant of it.
Absolutely. I did a dance, by the way, the other day.
You did?
Do a mantra about not owning my and I saw you dance, and it inspired me.
Oh.
And I don't mean like a dance and it just was a movement that coincided with a feeling of release.
Amazing. Cool. Very powerful. That's fantastic. Well, that's what we do at the MS stage. That's what we do. We dance with our symptoms, and we dance with different emotions around our symptoms so that we can get to know them on a deeper level. And I'm so thrilled to hear that you did that. That's super profound, because the more your body can feel the positive feelings of the movement, the more joy it brings to your cells. They start listening. They like that, right? So it's like the more you can do that and you can switch your emotions, the more,
Absolutely. I wept at the end, but it wasn't a sad weep. It was a catharsis.
Well, and it's okay to have a sad weep. I have plenty of women. There's not one class that goes by that somebody doesn't cry. So, but it's good because it's a release, and it's let go of, and it's being supported by other women, and it's the experience, right? So that's wonderful, because your body needs to have that release. Yeah, it's important.
It was visceral. You felt it.
Yeah.
That lesson, it was powerful.
Oh, you're very welcome. Did you watch are you talking about the lesson on Instagram?
I watched you, yes, but I look forward to the mini course and the course. But just watching you was very liberating.
So. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad to hear that. That's wonderful. I'm thrilled to hear that served you in that way. So current symptoms. What's current?
Well, I would say my greatest symptom is, I would say the greatest symptom is insomnia and extreme bone, like deep pain in my legs.
Mm.
And it is such that it's a mixture of restless legs and deep bone pain that the doctor has said coincides with lesions that are new. The pain is very profound. It has been of a level that I have never felt.
Oh, God, Jenn.
Yeah, and it's difficult.
Of course. I can't even imagine. Do you, I don't remember if we talked about this or not. Do you do, what's your diet like? And do you, do you take magnesium? Have you tried, magnesium
Yes,
gel?
magnesium, absolutely. And I take my diet now is I don't do dairy. I don't do some of the things that cause inflammation.
Yeah.
I'm jacked on steroids, so I'm a little bit
That's why you're not sleeping.
well, I've been on it for a while, for sure, for sure. I've always had trouble with insomnia, but you're absolutely right. I just I'm not keen on taking things. Uh, uh, if I'm taking something for one thing, I don't like overlapping it with another thing for something else. So since I'm on pain medication, I find it difficult in the evening to take something like a benzodiazepine. I'm a little nervous, so I try to do, I meditate, things like that. But the falling asleep is no trouble. It's the popping awake around midnight,
Yeah. Yeah.
staying awake.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, then I really try and get into my body and my head, out of my head, into my body,
Good.
and assign colors to the pain so I can make them red and transform them to perhaps a pastel that I can be friends with. I know that sounds crazy.
Well, so let's do that for a second. Have you named your pain?
I have not. I have just assigned colors.
Okay, so will you do this with me? We'll try this. Will you close
Yes.
your, okay, take a deep breath in and you can say to yourself, I, Jenn, get out of my head and into my body. So now I just want you to see the pain. If it's a color, that's great. If it's an object, could be a person. See what you see. Notice what you notice. Invite it to have a conversation with you. See if it's willing. Now, if it said yes, ask it what its name is. And if you have a name, see if you can see what if it's a person, see if it's wearing something. See if you can find out more information about it. What is it wearing? What does it look like? What color is their hair? How old are they? Is it male or female? Now ask it, why are you here? Do you have a lesson for me? Excuse me. Do you have a message for me? What do you need me to know? Now ask it, what would make you feel better? What can I do to make you feel better? No judgment, just see what comes up, see what they say. Ask them what information they have for you. Anything, it could be anything. Now, once you've gathered a lot of information, I want you to thank them. Have gratitude for them. If they have hands, you can shake their hands. You can give them a hug. You can bow to them. Thank them for showing up and giving you the messages that you needed to receive today. Thank them for having a conversation with you. Now ask them if there's anything else. Anything else you need to know today. Now give them a hug. Thank them for being your partner on this journey. Thank them for showing up. But tell them you've got it. You've got the answers. You understand the messages they gave you. But you don't need them anymore. You'll take care of it. You'll do the things they asked you to do to make them better. You'll stay committed to doing the things they ask you to do to make them better too. Now beginning to come back into your body, tell them you'll see them later. Or maybe not. Wiggling your fingers and toes, taking a deep breath in, and release. Opening your eyes. So if you feel like sharing, you can tell us what information you got. You don't have to feel obligated to do that. You might want to also write it down.
That was unexpected.
Okay.
I saw a boulder.
Okay.
It was impenetrable and hard and red. And when I asked it why it was here, all that flew out of the boulder was the word love.
Mm-hmm.
Like in like those word bubbles that you see everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
all that flew out of it is love. And then came love yourself.
Mm.
And when I asked it what other message it had, it said, keep going. I kid you not. That's just insane. I not experienced anything like that. But it was still hard. It was duality almost of the hard.
Mm.
It wasn't going to go anywhere. It wasn't going to go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had looked at it, I would have said bad, bolder, black, red. Yet the word love came out of it.
That's beautiful. So, so that's powerful message it's giving you. And it's literally testing you. To me, what I'm getting from that is that it's like the biggest test possible, right? It's literally giving you like the highest level of having love for yourself. I mean, that is, and that's hard, right? I mean, sometimes we don't, especially when our bodies, right, when we feel like our bodies are working against us, what it's doing for you and what your superpower is, when I talk about turning your symptom into your superpower, is it's telling you to love yourself more. So my suggestion would be to take that message and literally write it everywhere in your house. Write it on your mirror. Put it on Post-it notes on your desk. Say, I love myself. I love myself. I love myself deeply. I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And remind yourself every day, multiple times a day. Have an alarm go off, maybe hourly. That's like, I love myself. I accept myself. I deeply and completely love and accept myself.
It was also adamant that I keep putting the love out there. That's something I enjoy doing, and something that I find healing. But oftentimes I put more out because I'm deflecting, I'm putting it in.
Yep. Yep. So did it have any other messages in terms of, I didn't ask you that, but like food or any other things that it wants you to do for healing? Thank you, Britt, for commenting. Yes, it is a very powerful exercise.
Oh, is Britt here? I can't see who's here.
Britt
She's
Foster.
She's a sacred person. Yes.
Oh.
A dear friend, bonus colleague.
Cool.
Yeah. Yes, she's meant to be here.
Oh.
It just kept saying, keep going, do what you're doing, do what you're doing, keep the messaging,
Good.
do it, go.
Good.
It just kept saying, keep doing what you're doing.
Don't give up, basically, right?
Right. And it's funny because I wouldn't be one to think I would give up, but yet the messages in your head are those that would counteract that, because they do say the pain is bad. You are your pain. You are your MS. You're not going to be good enough at your job. You're going to eventually, not be able to do X, Y, and Z. So I see how that can be manifested in body.
The more you say it, or the more you hear it, or the more the doctor says it, right? Like I was told when I was diagnosed, I'd likely end up he literally said, you'll likely end up in a wheelchair one day. And I was like, no, I won't. What? I mean, he said, it's as if you've had a stroke, you'll likely end up in a wheelchair one day. Those were his exact words. So it's like, the more you believe that, right?
Oh, yeah.
That will manifest.
My doctor told me I will not have to worry about shoes any longer because I couldn't tie one. I at the time, had I been who I am now, but I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm like, But at that time, oh boy, that fearful little girl, it,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah. So it's all about the messaging. It's all about the mindset shift. I mean, that's what I believe in. It's what I teach. It's what I do. It's what I've done for my whole experience with it. Yeah. So you just got a significant message from your body. And my message to you is just to do exactly what it told you.
I see that not only as how we perceive love, but in nutrition
Yeah.
and walking. One thing I've recently done had a knee replacement, and for the first time in as long as I can remember, I've been walking my dogs, like walking, enjoying the walk.
Amazing.
And I go slow and I wobble and I trip and I do all the things, but I'm out there and I am
Yeah.
happy. It's
Good.
joy. It's like
And
I
that's
feel
your body
joy.
telling you just to
Yeah,
keep going,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Keep walking.
yeah.
And the more you, in fact, it's interesting because I've had that experience in the past 2 weeks. I've been, my leg is named Roxy, and I've had an issue with Roxy, for a long time. And it was just last year that I started using a cane on occasion. I don't use it all the time, um, but when I walk my dog, I don't use a cane. I just walk the dog, but I don't typically go far distances. But my leg's been telling me to power walk, that she wants to really walk. And so I've actually been walking faster and not like long distances, but when I do it quickly.
Right,
And so it's like, no, my leg was very clear in the last couple weeks. Like, this is what she wants. And so I've been doing it more and doing it faster. So it's like the more you listen to your body and what she just told you, or the boulder, just told you, now you have the name. You know what it looks like. You can talk to it all the time. When the pain shows up, why are you here? What are you doing today? Why is this bad right now? What do you need from me? And like, literally get the message, find out what they say, and then do it. That's what I tell people, because it's like, if you don't do what your body's asking you to do, it's going to keep rebelling. It's like a kid, right? Who wants, like, right? It's like,
right,
right? If you don't do what the kid wants, they're just going to keep being like, mommy, 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 I want it. I need more. I need more. And so they won't stop. They won't stop talking until they get what they want. And your body's the same way. It's like, think of your body as a child. You want to have compassion for them. So the symptom, the pain, is showing up because it wants something. It wants you to change something. And it just gave you a very clear message about it. And honestly, Jen, it might change.
yeah.
Right?
I always believe in the power of change. There's never anything limited in
Yeah.
my work.
But also the message might change.
Oh,
It might be, but yes, I completely agree with that. But right now, the message might be love yourself more, keep going, keep going. Then, as your symptom begins to shift, right, as the pain maybe starts to get better, or it might flare. And then you're like, wait a minute, what? I thought you were doing better. Now you've got to go ask it again. What do you need? What do you need from me? What do you want? What do I need to do to make you better? Because if you think of them as an entity, and that boulder is here, and it's like a person, or it's not, I mean, in that case it's a thing, whatever, but think of it as a thing with a heart, or with a, with feelings. Then you need to say to it, well, what do you need? What do you need? How can I help you? Have compassion for it.
it's such a powerful exercise. Where can people go to actually get the exercises that you do?
Well, I mean, so my mini course has bits and pieces of the method. But my program really has the method. I mean, you have to take the 12-week course
Right.
to really get, to really make your mindset shift, to like really do it. You've got to be engulfed in the 12 weeks. And it's very small, intimate groups of 4 to 6 women per group. And it's 2 hours a week. We do 6 weeks. The first 6 weeks is like stage 1. And then we take a couple weeks off so the work starts to integrate more. And the second week, 6 weeks, is stage 2. And then that's when you really start to begin to see, I mean, you see shifts all along, but it's like the second half where things really start to happen. And, you know, some people have experienced differences in symptoms. Some, it's just that the mindset shift opens up a world of creative possibilities. So they're starting to see their lives in new ways, whether it's all of a sudden they get a new job, or all of a sudden they get a house that they literally were dreaming about drops in their lap, and they or have the opportunity to buy the property. Like, I mean, so many things have happened. It's been amazing. And I can't even make it up. I can't write this stuff. So, yeah, it's really.
I love that. I love that so much. I think so many people look for a certain thing. They don't see the openings happening around them that they weren't looking for.
Yeah.
Sometimes in my own life, looking for ease of symptoms or my disease not to get worse.
Yeah.
I now have an amazing job with these beautiful colleagues I call friends,
Yeah.
and a world and an income. And I could have never imagined that my world would be what it is. And I still have that pain, yet it brought blessings. So I think so often we have to like not be so tunnel.
Oh, of
and
course.
still
And
keep doing the work.
Gratitude, right?
Oh,
Like
gratitude and abundance.
yeah, gratitude and
You know
abundance.
me.
Like yeah, radical gratitude. And
Yes.
but I really, your homework is to write down on every post-it note, every mirror, every whatever you have to do in your car, in your visor, on your, you know, board, and your whatever it's called, dashboard. Write it on everything that I deeply, completely love except myself.
It's going everywhere.
Good, 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 good. Because the more you do that, and the more you have gratitude for the boulder, now the boulder has shown you, has had a conversation with you and shown you what it's about, right? So you have to continue to thank the boulder for working.
Our boulder. Yeah.
What?
It's bizarre, but it was a boulder.
Well, everyone's are bizarre. Everyone's are bizarre. There's a reason, though. It's a boulder maybe because it's such deep, heavy pain, right?
Yeah.
What?
I deeply love myself.
Good. Love and accept. Love and accept.
Okay. Need bigger post-it
Deeply
notes.
and completely love and accept myself. Yeah, but the boulder could be that it's whatever you interpret it to be, but it could be that it's such deep and heavy pain that it's like this heavy rock, right? So maybe you start visualizing it softening. You start visualizing the boulder becoming a little more soft around the edges, and then eventually, right? So the power of our thoughts create our reality. The power of your brain is beyond incredible. So you can do that. You can do that. You can.
I'm coming back, and I'm going to do my homework, and we're going to have another session.
Okay.
And we're going to do this, and I really would be interested to see how it does, how this exercise manifests.
Yeah.
When I really begin to listen.
Yeah. And when you start to have the pain in the middle of the night, and when you were visualizing the colors, instead of the color, visualize the boulder, and start to visualize the boulder with softer edges, and maybe eventually it starts to melt a little bit, right? So just start to see it slightly differently rather than it as a color, because now you really actually see what it is. Instead of projecting the color on it, you actually know what it is now. You know?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's amazing. That really is.
I'm so crazy. So I love what you got. Can I draw a card for you?
I would be grateful. Yes.
My groups. It's from the Hero's Journey Dream Oracle card deck that the framework of my 12-week program is the same framework as the Hero's Journey by Joseph Campbell. So I love these cards, and I pull one every class. So I'm going to pull one for you right now.
Thank you.
This one wants to come out, whatever this is. Ha! In the castle of dreams, become altered by the color of your dreams.
That's profound.
Okay, so let me read this to you. So, I've dreamt in my life dreams. This is from Emily Bronte. This is a quote. I've dreamt in my life dreams that have stayed with me ever after and changed my ideas. They've gone through and through me like wine through water and altered the color of my mind. The message is the realm of dreams is an enchanted castle with a multi-dimensional world of magic and miracles within. A moat separates the castle of dreams from the mundane world of rational, ordinary reality. Each morning you are returned from your dreams and gently delivered back to the shores of the three-dimensional waking world. If you forget your nighttime dreams, which is natural to do, your sojourn to the mystical multi-dimensional realm ends there. Awaken too quickly and the drawbridge rises before a trace of the dream is carried with you, and your actions throughout the day will make logical, rational, maybe even robotic sense. However, when you remember even a hint of a dream, the drawbridge remains down, and your actions, state of being, and your day are colored by the extraordinary dreaming mind. When the drawbridge is down, quantum leaps take place, awakening happens, and miracles become commonplace. The trick lies in retaining and integrating the wisdom of the dream into your waking.
It's amazing. I couldn't have been any more profound.
It's the perfect, it's literally the perfect one. I'll send you a picture. I'll email this to you.
Please do. It's amazing, the metaphor of keeping the bridge down and
Also,
having.
I want to note that the mantra, I mean, you cannot make this up. The mantra was, I use my entire palette and paint with broad strokes as I participate vividly in life. When you and I had our conversation, I wrote a Post-it note that you wanted to live boldly.
Oh my gosh.
And
you're right. Yes.
This is literally, it says that you participate vividly in life, which is, to me, living boldly. So
That's
you have angels, you have spirits around you supporting you. There's no coincidences. This is from Kelly Sullivan Walden's book, the Hero's Journey Dream Oracle. It's a card deck that I adore and I use every day.
Will you send me a picture of that to the cover?
Yeah.
Thank you. I can't get over the
website if you want to buy it on my resource.
Yeah, would love to. Yes. I'm just humbled. I'm deeply, quietly, beautifully grateful.
Well, I've just been blessed to meet you.
Likewise.
Thank you. So anything else you'd like to say as we wrap up?
I would. I want to encourage people. I want to encourage people to be themselves in every way they can be. This disease is not the same for everybody.
Yeah.
Don't compare yourself. Be beautifully you. Own the pain as something, like Megan says, as an entity apart from you. But let the emotions from that wash over you like a wave so you can metabolize them and they can wash away.
Exactly.
That. But I really would love to say that it's there are no coincidences. Meeting you has been a blessing. Having a podcast, which is coming out Thursday, is a blessing. And for people who would like to tune in, MS News on Instagram will have it. But also if you go to Multiple Sclerosis News Today, The podcast page will have it this Thursday. And it's just such a privilege and honor to have with you.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, I feel the same about you. So thank you for coming on my Instagram Live.
Thank you for having me. I
You're
appreciate
so
it. And I
welcome.
appreciate everybody who stayed and who came. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope people listen to this because this was a really, really profound one. I've done some really cool ones. It's so interesting. Everybody has a different name for their symptom, and whatever pops up is meant to pop up. It's like nobody can write it. It's not what you expect. It's never what you expect. It's because they're their own entity.
Well,
They have
quite a gift too. You do. You bring out the honesty in someone's soul and invite them to be free and vulnerable, and that's quite a gift. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
thank you. Yeah. Have a beautiful evening.
Same to you. Tonight, just when you go to bed, as the Dream Oracle deck says, envision the boulder with love, and begin to see what happens. Keep doing it. Keep going as it told you to keep going. Keep envisioning it with love. Keep loving yourself every single day.
Thank you, Megan. You too.
Welcome. Thank you. I adore you. I adore you.
I can't wait to talk to you.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to send a picture of this right now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, Jen.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone, for joining. It's been a pleasure. It was such a pleasure to have Jen on today. Somebody was requesting to join. David, I saw your note, and you're welcome to. Thank you for what you said. And Britt, thank you for joining. I'm looking at all these notes right now. David, you can DM me. I'm not going to invite anyone in to join again right now because we're almost at an hour and I want to make sure I recorded this. So thank you guys, and I will see you next time.